Hey, 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 what's up? It's Charlie. Welcome to Chat with Charlie. Before I grab lunch, I decided to take a minute. It's quiet. So I wanted to take a minute to share just like a personal life experience with everyone because I don't get a chance to share a lot about my story, a lot about who I am, and I know that there are new people that have subscribed or not subscribed but follow me. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my life story. And I am going to get to a specific example related to when I talk about characteristics that you want to look for in a spouse. And I talk a lot about maturity. And I'm going to tie this life experience into that so that people understand why I talk about the things that I do. So, to give you a little bit of backstory about me, I am what I would consider like a motherless daughter. So that means that I was raised by my father. He was a single parent. I have an older brother and an older sister. Shout out. Okay. Love you guys. And, but I was not raised by my mother. So, like I said, I come from a single parent home. My dad did what he had to do to raise his children. And the reason why I wasn't raised by my mother is because she has mental illness. So, due to just situations and circumstances, my father felt like it was best for him to do what he had to do to just raise his children independently. And so there's no like hard feeling. It's just one of those things where it's life. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And I think I've had different phases in my life where I've had to deal with that. Which I will get into more later, but the groundwork, I'm more so talking about relationships in this live. So I say all of that to say that my mother has mental illness. Now, you know, I never had any issues with mental illness or anything like that. Nothing serious, and so, or nothing at all, actually. So, anyway, I get married, and years later, my husband and I, we have children. And actually, I had a miscarriage. I had a miscarriage with our first pregnancy. And that was, I would say, my first introduction to anxiety. I never remember being anxious ever before that period of time. It was very devastating. Some of the people who know me personally remember when that happened. Some people know details, some people don't know details, but it was a very devastating time in my life when I went through that miscarriage. And I think the anxiety didn't set in right away. The anxiety actually set in when about 7 months later I got pregnant again. Because now I'm thinking, okay, am I going to lose this child too? So the entire pregnancy, I did have anxiety. It wasn't anything that I think disrupted my life. It was more so just thoughts. There was nothing I can really do about it because I'm pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So it was just more so this constant reality that I could lose this child. So then I have the child, which is my oldest son. He's going to be 6 soon. And that was really, again, more so becoming a mother. That was when I felt like anxiety was kind of ushered into my life. So what did that look like? That looked like I was concerned for his health. And in fact, I still am. Like, I still feel like I have a level of anxiety about that. I'm always thinking about my children. Are they safe? Are they okay? And for me, that goes back to losing that first child. Now, now, how does this relate to relationships? How does this relate to that? When my husband and I first got married, like I said, I had never had any issues with mental health things, right? How would we have known that we were going to get pregnant, I was going to have a miscarriage, and that would be sort of like ushering in anxiety into my life? We would not have known that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to demystify marriage, or at least successful marriages, what I would call like healthy marriages. I know a lot of people want them, and I will tell you that I do consider myself having a healthy marriage. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. And I'm trying to say this because, you know, I want to bring to the forefront something that we may know, but we may not think about a lot. And that is, when you marry someone, that person may change and they may go through things. This is the reason why if you go through my Instagram, I put up something like the stages of life that your spouse is going to need support in. And one of those things was grief. We don't know what's up ahead. And the reason why I talk about maturity so much is because if you look at it from a practical standpoint, when I am going to make a decision in my life, we can insert marriage, right? I know that there are factors that I can't control. I know that there are things that are going to happen up ahead that I don't know about. So if that is the case, I want to try and position myself in the best way possible to be able to handle those challenges that I don't know about. And the best way that you can do that is building relationships with people who are mature. Because you don't know what the future holds for yourself or for the person that you're with, it makes sense that you try and build something with someone who is high quality in terms of their internal attributes. That is the reason why. And again, like I said, if you use that example, how would we have known that anxiety was coming, right? And so that is something that my husband, being, the number one person in my life, person outside of God, he now has to walk with me through that situation. And he has things that, maybe in the beginning when we were just dating and courting and things, I didn't know about. And now as he grows as an individual, those things come out. And that's going to happen. It happens to everyone. If you're going to be in a long-term, committed, one-on-one relationship with someone, people are going to change. Situations and circumstances are going to happen. And of course, we know this, like common sense tells us that. But sometimes we are not thinking through those things and we are being selfish. And I do think, based off of conversations that I've had and just things that I know about, I do think that people sometimes approach marriage and approach relationships in a selfish way. And they are thinking, what am I going to get out of the situation? How is it going to benefit me? And so I am trying to help you because if you marry someone that's thinking that, or if you're thinking that, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some issues because you're going to change and the person that you're with is going to change. And I have a lot that I would love to say about change in marriage and growth in marriage. But, like I said, I talk a lot about, if you look at some of my posts, I'll put like 4 characteristics to look for in a partner. And I put maturity. So my husband is different than me in terms of how he deals with situations, because I do deal with anxiety. The way that we manage situations is different. My husband is more solutions oriented, as I do think I don't want to be I don't want to like categorize people a whole bunch. But in my experience with the people that we know, I do feel like the men that we know that I'm around do tend to be a little bit more solution oriented. I am also very solution oriented, but I'm also a verbal processor. Sometimes I process verbally by myself. And because I am married, sometimes I need to do that with my husband. If we're making decisions, if things are coming up. So you can imagine what that would look like, right? We have a situation that comes up. Oh, COVID. Kids are not in school. Hey, thank you for joining. I was just sharing a little bit about my story and how that impacts, how changes in marriage can Hey. So I was sharing my story. I won't go all the way back through it because I think I've been talking for like maybe 7 or 8 minutes now. But I'll just kind of continue with what I was saying. I was talking about like when my husband and I are making decisions, we're different. And so because I do struggle with anxiety, what happens is my husband is more solution oriented, and I'm also solution oriented, but I also need to process things verbally. And so he has to have a certain level of grace with me while I'm trying to work through things and while I'm trying to say, okay, what do we need to do? This is how I feel about what happened. You know what I'm saying? So like when COVID hit, we were in a situation where we had to decide, for the kids to be pulled out of school. I want to talk more about how that makes me feel. Where my husband may want to focus more on in the moment, well, what are the solutions? What are the other options? And so I'm saying these things because I'm trying to help people understand marriage and understand that when I talk about wanting maturity, a lot of that plays into your marriage later on. Because when you change or when you go through something, if you do start to deal with anxiety, if you do get fired from a job and you start dealing with depression, you understand what I'm saying? You're going to want to be linked up with someone who has a level of maturity to say, you know what? I may not be depressed right now in my life, but my spouse is depressed. So let me take myself out of the equation, sit down and try and understand what they're going through. So when you look at a lot of the things that I post on Instagram and you see that I talk about maturity, I'm trying to help you understand this is what it looks like in practicality. When I say that a mature person is seeking to learn about other people, that's what I mean. If you link up with someone who's mature and you go into a long-term relationship, you go into a marriage with that person, your chances of success are higher because a mature person, even though they may not understand everything that you're going through, they will seek to kind of reason with you. They will seek to try and understand as much as they can. And they'll sort of take a back seat and try and learn. Whereas though if you hook up with somebody who's not mature, there's going to be a lot of problems. So I just was trying to give sort of like real life examples, things that I have gone through, and just open up about my life to help people get what I'm talking about when I say these things. Good communication, getting with someone who knows how to communicate clearly and calmly is key. Because again, if we're talking about like a marriage type of setting, I know a lot of people are trying to boss up. A lot of people want a boss relationship because now everybody's an entrepreneur, and I understand that. I think it's amazing. But I hope that we are realizing that if you want to have a boss marriage, you and the person that you're going to be with are sort of going to be like business partners. And one of the things about that is you need to be with somebody that has self-control. And self-control is not only with your resources, but it's also with how you communicate, how you deal with emergencies, that type of thing. So I am more so interested in helping people get healthy themselves and grow personally, and also know how to tell if someone else is going to be healthy to bring into their lives. Because again, I've been there. I've been married for 10 years, and I can say that in that time I can count on probably one hand the number of times that we've ever raised our voices. Like, we usually do not raise our voices above conversational tone. We have never yelled, screamed at each other ever in 10 years. And that's because we both have a level of maturity. I'm not in any way saying that we are perfect. We have it together. No, we have discussions on regular basis about things that we don't agree with, but we're able to talk those things out, right? So my whole goal with Chat with Charli is sort of helping people learn from what I have learned in marriage. Because again, I'm more so focused on maturity. I'm more so focused on people being grown and knowing how to handle themselves and understanding that there are going to be difficulties, but how do I manage when those difficulties come? How do I remain calm? How do I see my spouse have a personality trait that just does not resonate with me, but still walk with them, live with them in an understanding way? That's what I'm concerned with. Trying to help you, because that is the reality. So when I post things and I say, no fantasies, no gimmicks, just real life, that's what I'm talking about. The reality is that, again, I've been married for 10 years. Who I was 10 years ago is not 100% who I am now. I am much more focused. I care much less about what people think about what I'm doing. And so the person that I am now, my husband would have to understand that, right? And the person that he is different as well. And I have to understand that, and people have to understand that when you marry someone, you have to be committed to not necessarily agreeing with everything, but you at least have to know how to bear with that person in an understanding way. And so that's what I mean when I say these things. And I wanted to hop on live and give a little bit of clarity about that, so that people understand more of what I mean. So I will be trying to share more about my life experiences to help you guys that are new subscribers, or new followers to my Instagram page. And hopefully you'll go to YouTube and follow me there, because I'll post videos there as well, but help you understand in real life what I mean by these things. So maturity is real. You want to boss up? You want to be an entrepreneur? Do you know that your personal growth can seriously impact your entrepreneurial endeavors? And personal growth entails who you are linked up with, right? It entails that. It entails who you're linked up with. So all of these things matter. And so that's just one example that I shared about me going through a time period of dealing with anxiety, and how would we have known that? So if you know life is going to change, there are going to be ups and downs. Please understand that when you go into long-term relationships, when you go into marriage, that you want to get with someone that when the storms come, they have the infrastructure to be able to deal with them, right? So anyway, I'm going to be signing off. Y'all take care. Bye.